Well, I can only share it on Facebook. I can't share it on Twitter. I'm on a 5 day, you know,
5 days left.
yep, 5 days left.
Are we live? Let's see. And us yet. Yep. I think I gotta change the settings here. Hey, are there? It's not showing any comments, so I'm not sure. Does anybody see us?
Yeah, it's live. I
Okay.
can see the little live thing in the corner.
Awesome. Okay. Y'all might want to actually fasten your seatbelts, get some paper and pen, and this one is going to be a lot of information on both sides. We're going to do code tonight as much as possible because the last couple ones that I've been on have gotten strikes, not for me, but I'm messing up other people's channels. I'm not even sure what I'm saying. That's fun. And yeah, so I hope you guys have paper and pencil. I'm going to even be giving a little homework for those of you who want to be writing some stuff down and doing your own research. And I know that Jason's got a lot. And then also, too, if you stick around at 8:30, I'm going to have Roger Richards on, who is the director of 1,000 Pieces. That's going to be good. So, hi, my name's Dr. Sharnael Wolverton-Sehon. I'm with Swiftfire International. We're here tonight for our show with Jason Q and myself for Swiftfire TrueTv. We're really glad that you could be with us tonight. If this is your first time being here, I'd love to just say hey to all y'all. And we're both so pumped that you're here with us. I'd love to hear where all you guys are coming from so I can see what city, state, country, where y'all all being at. And Jason, you got anything to say? We both changed clothes. We're so like stylish. We were like, we both got on. We both had different outfits on from today. And I was like, you changed. And he was like, you changed. And it's like, you know.
Don't you ever change?
Yes. So we got Wisconsin's here, Arizona. Is anybody here who was there earlier this morning? Massachusetts is here. I mean, not this morning. When was that?
About an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, a little bit ago. We got Delaware, Ontario, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. We had Magenta and Laura Eisenhower with us. It was pretty awesome. And Jason has had coffee since then.
Oh no, I just woke up. I mean, I was only up for 20 minutes before that. I need about a good hour if I do sleep. A good hour to get, functioning, and then you'll see after all this that you'll be like, yeah, you do need an hour because the information we're about to bust out, you're not going to get anywhere else because we actually did find a certain quote unquote stone that we've been looking for. And this is going to be big. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm looking forward to that information. I was going to tell you, I told you a little bit, but I watched a interview with a Celeste Solem from FEMA, and she was interviewed by David Icke. I guess that's how you say his last name. Is it Ick? It can't be Ick.
It's
It's got to be Ike. Please be Ick. Please be Ike. Anyway, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Get rid of them.
She was working there, and she was going into all the different ways and all the different things that she's stumbled upon over the years having to do with FEMA and the barcode system for hybrid humans. That's interesting because the whole thing is they cannot patent a human because it's a living being, but if they tweak a human by doing all kinds of stuff, then they can actually patent and control. And I got a picture here I was going to show you guys about the nanotechnology. I don't have two screens to do this, and this is just a last minute thing that I was going to show. That bottom thing right there is a piece, that white thing is a piece of rice, and the thing next to it is nanotechnology. and you can see up on the top all the little tiny dots next to that's a finger. So yeah, they're putting it in the water and the food, and in the tests for the V and in the V. So they're also working on a lot of other stuff. You know, of course, it's in the chemtrails and all of that too. But do you have anything on that, Jason?
I don't have much on that. I do have a lot of information on the chemtrails and nanobots and all of that, but I don't have it like within reach. So if we can go over that on another show, because then I could be well versed and just like completely ramble on like Rain Man.
Rain Man style. Well,
That's
I was
it.
gonna encourage you guys to look up a few things. If someone wants to type this in the comments too, that would be helpful. But Body Systems Barcode Life Data System. Body Systems Barcode Life Data System. If anyone can put that in there, or I will put it in the notes later. Body Systems Barcode Life Data Systems.
That even
Is
sounds creepy, you
it
know?
does.
That even sounds, it's like, it doesn't even sound right. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like
So
body and barcode. Ugh.
right. And then somebody type into Clade X. It was having to do with the communities that were getting together for classifications of humans. John Hopkins was a big part of that. And basically, they have a whole new set. Oh, you got something? They got a whole.
That's what you gave me. That's
Yep.
that's what you told me to look up, and that's why I had it right there.
Yep. I looked up and basically they are wanting to put humans in a whole different category now. They want to put us with like dinosaurs and birds.
Extinct. That's what it means.
Yeah. Because and also look up Philo PHYLO Philo code. You can go to the website. Again, it's just where they are getting us. They're trying to get us to the point where we're extinct, and that the only thing that's coming up and new is anything that's patented and literally has a barcode. They go into all the new hybrids, because used to be like a cat was a cat, a dog was a dog, you know, all of that. Now they're talking about demons, spirits, aliens, and you know, they're just synthetic hybrids, you know, not just humans and animals, but all of the different ones mixed together. So, you know, if we are part AI, then yes, we're patentable, but also controllable, because from a little switch from wherever, they can use machinery, scalar waves, whatever, to deal with the magnetization of the nanotechnology, because they're just little tiny robots in there. And you know, they cannot, check this out, Jason, they can actually set up the robots to work in classes, whether it's by a race, by a color, by a faith, by a country, by a city. What they can dialogue, put it in, so maybe a whole gender would have a problem, or a whatever. So they just put in the formula for how they want to do it, and basically hit a button, and it can cause problems based on that. So I hope you guys do kind of check that out on your own. Also, look up World Economic Forum. They have been having annual meetings on this stuff. But yeah, the last one I was going to look at or tell you guys about is ibol.org. Eyeball, but it's spelled IBOL. And they have, it's also an international barcode system. And guess who's running it? Rockefeller.
No.
Yes, and they love all the wordings. They have illuminate biodiversity. And there's a whole section called the CBOL. So if you say that slow, ball, but it's CBOL, right? So, but basically, they've been deploying biological genetic modifications already. Whether it's again through nano stuff or the tests. The tests, they're saying that the tests, if you've been tested, they're saying that you've been tagged because that there's like there's magnetic stuff within and it's past the brain barrier. It goes past the blood and the brain barrier, which is not good. So yeah. All right, Keystone, thanks for taking notes, guys. I hope that you guys will go back and look up some of that stuff and check it out. But it's pretty interesting. And look at the logos too. The logos for each of these places. Some of them look pretty crazy, like kind of reptilian-ish. I posted some of it on my Facebook the other day, and I know some of y'all saw it, but yeah, Dave said, damn, not good. Interesting. So yeah, cabal. So tell us about the Keystone. Tell us about the Keystone.
Okay. Now this is going to literally, I mean, when they said to find the Keystone, this right here, I can honestly say that even though we had to like look in all these different places, this is going to be one of the most frightening things you'll ever hear. Just from an American standpoint. So we had to use various packets, various information sources and everything. So what we've used is the one packet with the 171 pages of the with the V's being BWs, BioWs, and one of them is also the executive order on imposing certain sanctions in the event of foreign interference in a United States election. When people are like, oh, this is the biggie, I don't think anybody to comprehend what they meant in this. It's not that anybody couldn't find it or anything, but it takes a lot of digging, a lot of recall, and just to really understand what they meant in this. It's pretty sad that our own country has officially, like, not officially, but before this, they sold us right down the river. And in this executive order, right, President Trump mentions about a let's see, which page is that? Okay, it's when he mentions about the Proclamation 8693 of July 24th, 2011. It's, I don't know how many pages it is, but he meant that the immigrants and non-immigrants of such persons, about suspending the entry into the United States for them. And the Proclamation 8693, it deals with the suspension of entry of aliens subject to United Nations Security Council travel bans and International Emergency Economics Powers Act sanctions. Now, if you're taking notes, don't worry. I'll make sure that all this gets included. I'll include all this. We could just make a whole big plethora where you can get all this, and because this is very important, because this is where we found the Keystone, and it has everything to do with.
Before you do that, can you? I'm getting texts from people saying, "Where are you? Where are you?" Can you post it on your page so people can put? Because not everybody comes to my stuff. They're looking for you on your page.
Okay.
Sorry, I really don't want to cut you off. Believe me, because I want.
Okay. Not a problem. Let me go ahead and let me go on Facebook, and
if you go to my,
yeah, I'm gonna go to yours, and then I'll share it on there.
Yep. Share it on Facebook. Yeah. Okay, that way people stop texting me, because they all knew we were going to be here tonight.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute, and I'm just gonna go ahead and.
Meanwhile, we got people from the UK, Nebraska, and other Maryland. A lot of people have been tested. So if you don't have to get tested, don't get tested, please. Don't
get tested at all. Just deny it. I mean, don't, it's your right to not get tested. I hate to say it. If it's for a job or anything like that, you know what? No job is important for them to shove a 6-inch testing swab up your nose that can actually spread it. Because nobody's tested the swab. Nobody's tested any of this. When we looked into the false testing from the H1N1 testing that they did before, this is that big because a lot of them came back false positives. A lot of them. They tested 77 people in a football team, right? And this was years ago. 77 came back false positives. First time they came back, it came back positive. Second time it was a false positive. So,
well,
yeah.
the scary part is this girl was talking about how she had a lady call her in the middle of the night because her daughter had some of that stuff done with a V in the past, and she was working with them, and the little girl started having problems like overall with her brain, and she had to go in for like brain surgery, and the surgeon who did the surgery is Ben Carson, like the Ben Carson, the brain surgery guy of like the universe, who also ran for president for a little bit. Well, he opened her up, and he said that he had to just close her back up after he did lots of discovery. And they said, well, what did you see? And he said, I don't know what I saw. He said, when I opened her up, he said that it was glue. It looked like her brain was glue and encapsulated, and it had went down the bottom of her spine. And basically they had to close her up, and she ended up, what it does is it basically takes over the cell, and then it just grows until, and it feeds off the moisture of the body until you not dehydrate, but basically, have you seen like the black goo movies where like when Lucy just the black comes up? I think it was Lucy, or all these other kind of stuff where like AI just takes over. Kind of, yeah. But anyway, all right. So Keystone, sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I have no problem with you interrupting because you're giving out some knowledge. You know what I mean? So when they mentioned that part about the proclamation of the suspension of entry of aliens, now we have to go back to Obama because this was actually, from him, and it was Proclamation 8693 of July 24th, 2011. And the proclamation was as follows: in light of the firm commitment of the United States to the preservation of international peace and security, and our obligations under the United Nations Charter to carry out the decisions of the United Nations Security Council imposed under Chapter 7, I have determined that it is in the interest of the United States to suspend the entry into the United States as immigrants or non-immigrants of aliens who are subject to the United Nations Security Council. Travel bans as of this date of this proclamation. I have further determined that the interests of the United States are served by suspending the entry into the United States as immigrants or non-immigrants of aliens whose property and interest in property have been blocked by an executive order issued in whole or part of pursuant to the President's authority under the International Emergency Economics Powers Act. Okay, so literally what he's done is that he's mentioned already where he got this from, what made him come up with this, right? So now what we do is we go to United States Charter, right? That's what you got to do, right? When you mentioned the United States Charter, we go ahead and go to Chapter 7. This is where people's going to get angry. Chapter 7. It is action with respect to the threats to the peace, breaches of the peace, and acts of aggression. So this is United Nations Council, correct? Now, remember when this whole pandemic started and they were telling us that, it had to go all the way to stage 6, level 6, because they had to have us stay inside and, it's bad. It's bad. It's going to be horrible. Yeah, that's all a lie. It's a very big lie. Because right here, it has the phases, the WHO pandemic influenza phases. Now, this was back in 2009, I mind you. This is all created in 2009. Now, phase 6, well, I'll read phase 5 first because then it goes into phase 6. Phase 5 reads as follows: human-to-human spread of the virus in 2 or more countries in one WHO region, World Health Organization region. So 2 or more countries. So you get from China to the U.S. That's 2 or more, right?
Wow.
Phase 6. In addition to the criteria defined in phase 5, the same virus spreads from human to human in at least one other country in another World Health Organization region. That would be Mexico, right? So they had post-peak, it says levels of pandemic influenza in most countries with adequate surveillance have dropped below peak levels, right? Now, the ones that are involved are the Department of Health and Human Services, Food and Drug Administration, because if you noticed, the FDA was quick to approve all of these Vs, to get them out there, right? Well, they're not a part of us. They're not a part of the United States. They're all private corporations.
Right.
They should all be gone. They have no right to even be in our country. Well, they started getting all this money, like these contracts, like 62.5 million, 100 million, and the 100 million went to this Sanofi Pasteur, the V's business of the Sanofi Aventis Group for avian flu V's, right? Now, if you remember when they linked President Trump to all this, right? When President Trump, the Sanofi Pasteur, they were the ones that made the hydroxychloroquine.
Right.
They didn't make it. They stole it. They stole it from Apontex Pharmaceuticals, which Barry and Honey Sherman owned. That's why they're dead. They were executed because they did find the cure. So the Sanofi Pasteur, remember who invested $500 in the stock? It was President Trump.
Oh.
Now, if President Trump wanted to really invest, why would he just drop $500 into anything? He dropped it as a marker because the news was going to take it and run with it. Like, oh well,
$500 isn't very much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would you just do 500?
He did it just
to get them to look.
Yeah. Look here, not there. So by him doing that, it made us understand that he did that for us to look there, and for other people to think, oh, see, he invested in all this. It's like $500. That couldn't even buy a lunch for all of them. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, he didn't do that for that. So when it came down to these articles in this United Nations Charter, there were 2 presidents that signed on saying that if the United States was ever hit by a level 6 pandemic,
right,
that the UN and the WHO would be able to come here and stand down our military and take over. Right? So what they did was they came over here. They were all sitting on the ground, ready to go and all this. That's why what happened in Maine.
Canada.
That's why it happened there, Maine and Canada.
Yep.
And that's why in Washington, you're seeing a little, of the, they're communist.
Right.
It's pretty much, but they're all under the UN control because there's from Article 39 to Article 51, it all has to do with what's going to happen. So Article 39 reads as follows: the Security Council shall determine the existence of any threat to the peace, breach of the peace, or act of aggression, and shall make recommendations, or to decide what measures shall be taken in accordance with Articles 41 and 42 to maintain or restore international peace and security. Well, last time I checked, the UN wasn't signing any peace deals, right? I believe Big Daddy Trolladamus was doing that over in D.C.
Right.
He brought all the Middle East, all the Islamic countries on, brought them down to the table. They all signed. Everybody's under peace treaty. So if there's anybody bringing peace to the world, it's President Trump
Yep.
and his group. Well, it says, in order to prevent an aggravation of the situation, the Security Council, which is an SC, so when you see SC with the dots under it, you could actually switch that over to Security Council as well, not just Supreme Court, because there were multiple meanings for SC, because it was like South Carolina, Supreme Court. Now we can add Security Council. The Security Council may, before making the recommendations or deciding upon the measures provided in Article 39, call upon the parties concerned to comply with such provisional measures as it deemed necessary or desirable. Such provisional measures shall be without prejudice to the rights, claims, or position to the parties concerned. The Security Council shall duly take account of failure to comply with such provisional measures. Well, if those measures didn't go through, right? If that didn't work, then they actually added on. They actually have a whole checklist, like a flow chart. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and the Security Council may decide what measures not involving the use of armed force are to be employed to give effect to the decisions. And it may call upon the members of the United Nations to apply such measures. Remember, we step back from the United Nations. That's why the United Nations over in New York City, that's why it's abandoned. And where is that? That's in Turtle Bay.
Right.
So they used to call them turtles. That was their nickname for the UN. Everybody in the UN, they call them turtles. So now, these may include complete or partial interruption of economic relations and of rail, sea, air, postal, telegraphic, radio, and other means of communications, and the severance of diplomatic relations. Fine, we don't need you guys anyways.
Right.
Now, should the Security Council consider that measures provided for in Article 41 would be inadequate or have proved to be inadequate, it may take such action by air, sea, or land forces that may be necessary to maintain or restore international peace and security. Such action may include demonstrations, blockade, and other operations by air, sea, or land forces of members of the United Nations. Now we see where the blockade comes in, right? Now, why did President Trump form a blockade on both the East and West Coast with the ships?
Yeah, there has been
exactly why.
Yeah.
Right there. We formed the blockade again ahead of them. That's like a confirmation for us. It says we're spot on. So it says all members of the United Nations, in order to contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security, undertake to make available to the Security Council on its call in accordance with special agreements or agreements, armed forces assistance and facilities, including rights of passage necessary for the purpose of maintaining international peace and security.
Wow.
So now they're talking about armed forces, right? So you're talking about armed forces against the United States at home. Guys are stupid, right? Now, when they say these people are stupid, yeah, they are. They're real stupid. So it says, when the Security Council has decided to use force, it shall, before calling upon a member not represented on it to provide armed forces in fulfillment of the obligations assumed under Article 43, invite that member, if the member so desires, to participate in the decisions of the Security Council concerning the employment of contingents of that member's armed forces. So the UN says, you know what, China, we're going to use your armed forces, right? Now we're giving you an invite that you can come over and sit at the table and, you could, you could participate in some of the decisions we have, but we have the final decision. We have the final decision on how your military is run, how many of your men die, how, even if you don't want to go to war with the United States, it doesn't matter because you're out of the picture. You're just here to listen to us in our decisions.
Wow.
Yeah. It says, in order to enable the United Nations to take urgent military measures, members shall hold immediately available National Air Force contingents for combined international enforcement action. The strength and degree of readiness of these contingents and plans for their combined action shall be determined within the limits of laid out in the special agreement or agreements referred to in Article 43 by the Security Council with the assistance of the Military Staff Committee. So the plans for the application of armed force shall be made by the Security Council with the assistance of Military Staff Committee. So you have a Military Staff Committee that is going to advise and assist the Security Council on all questions related to Security Council's military requirements for the maintenance of international peace and security. Now, if President Trump pulled all of the troops back and said, you know what, we want world peace, he went over and helped North Korea, South Korea bring peace.
Yeah.
He helped Israel and all the Middle Eastern countries bring peace.
Epic, record-breaking peacemaker.
So if these guys are sitting here saying that for the maintenance of international peace and security, I mean, you're not. You're actually bringing war. You know, you're actually doing, you're being counterproductive.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the Military Staff Committee shall consist of the chiefs of staff of the permanent members of the Security Council or their representatives. Any member of the United Nations not permanently represented on the committee shall be invited by the committee to be associated with when the efficient discharge of the committee's responsibilities requires the participation of that member in its work. The Military Staff Committee shall be responsible under the Security Council for the strategic direction of any armed forces placed at the disposal of the Security Council. Questions relating to the command of such forces shall be worked out subsequently. So we're going to go ahead and do it first, and then we'll just work out the rest of stuff later. You know, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. You know, so the Military Staff Committee, with the authorization of the Security Council, and after consultation with the appropriate regional agencies, may establish regional subcommittees, subgroups.
Wow.
See, remember when Q said subgroups?
Yeah.
There we have it. There's our subgroup. The members of the United Nations shall join in affording mutual assistance in carrying out the measures decided upon the Security Council. So even if you're not on board with this, you still have to, because you have to join in affording mutual assistance. So all of you have to bring the same amount as them into this so that we can go ahead and, take this to task. Because the UN doesn't have an army. They use everybody else's in the world to converge, and so they don't have to do anything.
Right.
It's almost like they're the puppeteers. They're Geppetto. And it says preventive or enforcement measures against any state are taken by the Security Council, any other state, whether a member of the United Nations or not, which finds itself confronted with special economic problems arising from the carrying out those measures, shall have the right to consult the Security Council with regard to the solution of those problems. Yeah, hey, go ahead and take some of that money there. Yeah, that'll help. It's just, it is so just completely stupid. It says nothing in the present charter shall impair the inherent right of individual or collective self-defense if an armed attack occurs against a member of the United Nations until the Security Council has taken measures necessary to maintain international peace and security. Measures taken by members in the exercise of this right of self-defense shall be immediately reported to the Security Council and shall not in any way affect the authority and responsibility of the Security Council under the present charter to take at any time such action as it deems necessary in order to maintain or restore international peace and security. So that's that. That's the Chapter 7. Okay. So now we know where they're going with this. Well, here's the issue. So if they were going to come over here and have our military stand down, right? And they were going to go ahead and take over. There was one other time in history that they decided to start pulling this whole stand down crap. And it was actually over in Vietnam. It was during Saigon, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, this was dated December 9th, 1967. And the subject is military operating authorities during the holiday stand downs for Christmas 1967 and New Year's and Tet 1968. So it says on American Embassy, Saigon, Messages State, November 1967, in which Ambassador Locke presented the GVN position for the holiday stand-down periods of 36, 36, 72 hours and recommended that, if acceptable from a military standpoint, the proposal will be accepted. So they were going to have this whole stand-down of all this, but there was one operation that still was going to go forward, and that was the normal operations in Laos and Cambodia. Now, when people realized that we didn't go to Vietnam because of Vietnam,
Right.
we went there because of Laos and Cambodia,
Right.
of what they found there. And what they found there, they found there the Nephilim skulls, bones, skeletons, all that. People were riding a bicycle, and they would have a Nephilim skull on the front, and it was a massive head. So the powers that be, the ugly powers, they were like, okay, we can't let this get out. Because before 1900, all in the papers, they used to talk about finding a big skeleton, finding this and finding that, all in the old time papers. But right now they couldn't let it get out. And why is that? Because who are the 13 bloodlines? It's the Nephilim themselves. That's why Obama has pictures with 6 fingers. That's why Bill Clinton has pictures with 6 fingers. They're all Nephilim. They're all that bloodline.
Are you kidding me?
No. So, this is the best.
You know what? Someone actually told me that in 2010 about Obama. Someone told me, and some of you who are on here who've been following me that long, we had a conference here, a live conference, a big conference, and one of the speakers there actually told us that at the dinner table after, and we were like, "Whoa!" So this is crazy. Yeah, I don't know if Caroline is on here. She was there, and Nancy Flowers, if you're on here, yeah. But go ahead.
Okay, so there was an operation. This operation was named, right? The name of the operation? Operation Keystone Robin.
Whoa, Keystone.
No, Keystone Robin.
I know, but still.
Make sure you remember the Robin.
Okay. Tell me about the Robin.
Because who talks about a mask? And who wears a mask and all that? And who keeps on saying that I am Batman? I am Batman. I am Batman. Keystone Robin. It's right here. And it was in 1970, which is a 17. 1 + 9 + 7. That's a 2.
Whoa, I never thought about that. I'm gonna 70.
So now,
okay, here we go.
It's that deep. So
wow.
And so that made us go from this to this to this, and it pretty much had everything put together.
You got it all together.
That's the Keystone.
Dude.
Because what are they doing right now? Essentially, they have the UN. They're still going to go ahead and they're going to try to pull off this attack. Like they're going to stand us down. Well, I don't think they got the memo. Because now, what did they say today or yesterday about evacuating DC?
I don't know. I actually didn't hear that. I haven't been on TV all day.
They said that DC and all the federal employees have to evacuate DC. Why? This time we only have to go 20 years back, right? To 1999, 2000, the election. What they did was, remember that whole hanging Chad incident in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Once everybody was withdrawn from DC, they were federal employees, that left our flag unattended. So that in a certain amount of days, it could actually be taken over.
Wow.
Right? Now, but that could also go towards the good. Because if somebody else were to take it, like President Trump, you can actually have you essentially stop the corporation, right? And now we're a constitutional republic again. Because The only reason why he was actually like, you know, top top of the line to go ahead and do this is because he knows about bankruptcies. And the only reason
Oh yeah.
why he knows about bankruptcies is that the government, well, the White Hats and all that, they made sure that he was a part of all these bankruptcies in his businesses and all these other ones so that he could sit down at the table and he knows exactly how it works, exactly what you have to do. He perfected it. So now he can go in there and, you know,
Bankrupt
be
a
the
corporation, basically, like
exactly.
he's been doing it all along in the art of making deals and buying up stuff that. I mean, this is what he's been doing for how long? For decades.
Exactly. So now,
Wow.
so now with him there, evacuate all of DC, because then we could turn around and snake right in. But there's one thing missing. Who would actually lead? Now remember, President Trump has to be non-biased in everything he does, right? Because of who he is.
Wait, which, by the way, did you see the tweet that well, I know you're not on Twitter, but he actually put something out that says, I have nothing to do with the Hunter thing. I have nothing to do with anything going against Biden. He made sure to put it out there like, this isn't me. And when all that stuff went out, where was he? He was golfing. He was just like, oh, hey, it's like,
Because what he did was when he pardoned Flynn, he pardoned him and cleared him of all charges. That means that he can step in to that position. He
wow.
can be the interim president of the Republic of the United States of America. So now, when they speak of, remember he has to be completely, completely unbiased. He has to be completely equal. Who doesn't? General Flynn. General Flynn knows a lot.
So where is Russell Gold in the flag situation? Where is that in all this? Because that's
of the world.
okay.
We're fixing our country. We're fixing our republic. We're getting rid of the corporation here, and then we're going to turn into the republic.
Got it.
Because I mean, they have enough things to get in line with all the other countries. Because we want all the other countries to say we want everybody to have the same rights as we do. That's why when he went and got all the signatures, essentially every country is under our our Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights. So that means that they're all free. But what Russell J. Gould had to do was you could be free, but you're not a sovereign. He had to go ahead and get the sovereignty from the post office.
Right.
Because if you're not, because you had Hillary was a sovereign. They went to New Zealand and got their sovereignty. But we didn't get our sovereignty because we all have to get it as one. Because we all have to be sovereign beings all across the world. Sovereign beings. We're not going to be slaves to anybody's system. We are sovereign beings. So there's that. Then with Flynn, when he steps in, who's the military going to side with now? The military's going to side with Flynn.
Yeah.
They trust him. They love him. And then us. We trust Flynn. We love Flynn. You know, and what better way to really stick it to him? Because he lost his house. He lost everything. What better way than to toss him the keys of the White House? Say, because remember, it has to be within 120 days. Right?
Yeah. And have you got a chance to watch 1,000 Pieces, the documentary? Oh my God.
Yeah.
It goes in, you would love it. It goes into a bunch of the stuff with Flynn and his brother and his son. I mean, it goes in a lot of detail with that.
Nice. So now with Flynn, he has, when it's done in 30, well, of course, because when you have January 19th, because that's the day we're going to blockchain vote, because there has to be one more vote. It has to be. There's no two ways about it. It is in the NESARA, it's in the NESARA necessities, because it has to be run by the military. it doesn't mean that it's going to be like, they're going to hold the gun to your head, but they want everybody to vote. So like the nursing homes and all that, because nursing homes, they can't go out and vote with the blockchain, or if they don't have access to these devices or anything like that, because you have all these sick psychotic liberals that work in these places that are changing their votes, that are telling them that, well, you have to vote liberal or else we're just gonna beat you or something. I mean, they do stuff like that to people in there all the time. They take stuff away from them, and then they have to just to say, well, now you're gonna vote for Biden. I mean, that's garbage.
They were doing it in nursing homes and everything, let alone, it's very, very mafia-ish.
Oh yeah. But the thing is that when these military, National Guard, when they go into these places, they get to look around and say, well, this isn't very hygienic. This isn't the way to take care of elderly. And 99% of nursing homes, they usually have people that are, they're undertrained, underpaid. They're just like the riffraff off the street. And the sad part is that there are people that care that work there, but they're the pretty much the minority. So, so please, if just don't, these whole nursing homes, sending people there, don't, take them in if you can. They're your parents. I would never think about, my parents going to a nursing home or anything like that. That's disgusting. But if you can't, I mean, it's tough. But remember, they raised you up until now, and now they need help. It's a circle. It's all a circle. So, and yeah, are they going to be senile? Of course, we all are. But the thing
Some
is
of us
that
more than others.
yeah, but the reason why they're senile is because some people they know that death's coming, and they can't grip or they can't cope.
Yeah.
But what if death's not coming for them? We're biologically immortal entities.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to live forever. It's just a matter of doing this and finishing it, and just having everything set up, and there you go.
So what about the martial law piece? Because all these people are saying, it's got their, when is tomorrow the expiration date, or is the start date?
I'm not sure, but yes, we do need martial law because of the simple fact that there's a lot of low-hanging fruit, like this city government, and all these officials that have actually done the same thing as the ones higher up in Washington, because they had to start out somewhere in the political spectrum. So then they start there and then they move up, but they're still doing the same, cult, the cult, I guess you could say just activities. Because the more you perform like cult activities and all that, the higher you can go. So what they're doing is they're working their way up into the higher government, but they have to do like really disgusting things all the way up. Like it's just like Freemasonry. You have to go up degrees. But think about past 33. You're going up 34, 37, because 37 is warrior on the block, and they have all these different degrees past it. It just doesn't stop at 33. They make you think that it stops at 33. Inside their heads, oh no, it don't. Not at all. So now with the Keystone Robin, that's why they want us to know, because there are UN forces on American soil. Because I mean, even in California, somebody informed me that there's a bunch of UN, like a convoy of UN, not tanks, but I mean Humvees and all that on trains that are going. It's like, well, why would they have
several people report that? Yeah.
Why would they have UN Humvees here? We have plenty of Humvees here that are American that can take care of ourselves. But why was that? Because of the pandemic stage 6. So now we know why they decided to pull this whole thing and, say, oh, well, oh my God, it's going to be so bad. You're going to have millions of people in the street. And all they did was when they showed China, like they show pictures of people just dropping dead and like blood coming out of their orifices and everything. They liken that to this because they wanted to strike fear into people. All they did there was that they turned on 5G. 5G.
Yeah.
Because what it did was all the nanotechnology in your body, and they pumped them full of it. I mean, they were like loaded. And all they did was turned it on in certain neighborhoods. You see people just dropping and just start convulsing and like blood out of their eyes, their ears, their nose. I mean, come on. I mean, why would they do that? But then you have to realize it's communism. They will do anything to strike the fear of Satan into anybody. Now, that's pretty much, I mean, it all goes down to that because, everything else with Bush and all that, they had the, right here. Like, if people really understood, like, the end game of what, like, the money and everything like that, what they've actually done, I mean, it says even right here, like, because they have the conclusion, it's like on page 160 something, and they actually have specifics with Obama. President Obama, who, as part of his office, will oversee the implementation of the International Partnership on Avian and Pandemic Influenza, which would give primacy to the World Health Organization and United Nations over U.S. law and government agencies in the event of a pandemic being declared. President Obama has also requested the $1.5 billion emergency appropriation to deal with swine flu, including development of a vaccine. No. The $1.5 billion, that was his cut. He's like, I'll do this for $1.5 billion.
Wow.
I mean, the list that they have here of people that these savages that participated in it, it's mind blowing. I mean, you've got the president, you've got people in the United Nations, World Health Organization, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Department of Homeland Security, which was Janet Napolitano, which is that judge's twin, sister, whatever. They look just alike. So that's got to be it. Because they don't, it doesn't say that she has a brother or anything, but when you put those side by side, yeah, no go. Plus, Janet Napolitano was a part of the McCain Institute, and the McCain Institute was, they had it under ASU, Arizona State. So when they did that, oh yeah, I'm getting feedback. Oh, that's on your end. I think it's Facebook. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, is your Facebook on? Your volume on your Facebook?
Mm-mm.
Oh, there you go. Okay, it stopped because I heard myself twice. I'm like, oh, that guy sounds hideous. and like the Rothschilds, Baxter International. Now Baxter International, that was the one when they were saying, hey, give us your plasma. They would have all these companies that were taking like people's plasma, and they were taking it to, Baxter would pick it up, and then that's when they would use that to create these Vs, the VIs, not the VAs, the VIs. So, and they would go to low income, neighborhoods because they need it the most. So people would schedule dates to go, I'm going to go donate some plasma because it's the quickest way to make money. They make what, $35-$40, and they're like, hell yeah, that's awesome. It's like, not really. I mean, it's sad that you have to do that in order to survive. I mean, that's going to change too. David Rockefeller, of course, the Rockefellers were pretty much the ones that created this whole, the Vs and the VIs. Just do the Spanish, the flu pandemic of 1918. It's the same thing. They devised that, and they devised that as a VA to give the troops on both sides. That's where there were so many dead on both sides of the war in World War I.
Wow.
Because he gave it to both of them. They're all dead. They were taking it home to their kids. You know, it was getting spread like crazy.
Wow.
It's really terrible that so many of these scumbags actually did this to us on purpose.
For money.
What's that?
All about money.
Yeah.
Dollar.
Yep. Well, and even then, it's not even about that. It's just about the extermination of human beings for their transhumanism agenda, which was all the nanobots and everything. So they can go back to what the Anunnaki had back when they had the Ajiji. They had them just for slaves, you know, so they could program the slaves so they could do what they're supposed to do, and then they could just sit around and just, if they don't abide by it, zap. Because we were, you know, by having our free will, in turn, we know that, you know, we know the 5 Declaration of Articles of now I get it right here. You know, about the whole how we can like overthrow our government. I mean,
Right.
if your government becomes, you know, tyrannical, you know, overthrow them. And it's just really just, it's sad because they've literally taken the Department of Education, they've taken that over, they infiltrated it, and they made sure that anything that would teach us about a tyrannical government, of what to look for or anything, they removed it from the curriculum on purpose.
Just so because then nobody knows. So they don't even know their
Exactly.
rights anymore.
Exactly.
Which is why President Trump actually did an order for us to go back to teaching this in the schools and getting people educated, not just for the children, but for the freaking adults who have missed it. Like,
and that's under the 1776 Commission.
mm-hmm.
So now, when we're coming up to next week, with the 24th being the
Holiday.
Holiday, I'm gonna get that here somewhere. So with that being the holiday, it's actually, I mean, it is so damn good how he did this. It's not even funny. I mean, he really, I mean, it's almost to the point where they knew that it was going to be ending right here, so we didn't have anything to worry about. And how everybody's like, oh, it should be over, it should be over, it should be over. It's like, no. You know, and with this, what they said, in section 3 of the, you know, the executive order about federal government on December 24th, 2020. And on section 3, it says December 24th, 2020 shall be considered as falling within the scope of Executive Order 11582 of February 11th, 1971, and of 5 U.S. Code 5546 and 6103, and other similar statutes insofar that they relate to the pay and leave of employees of the United States. Now, when you have pay and leave of the employees of the United States, so employees of that corporation. So if they break away from the corporation, you know, they're going to go ahead and not be employed by the corporation anymore. They will be under the Republic. And February 11th, 1971, February 2/11. When was this signed? 11/2, mirrored.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, they he did this right, because in this one, in the one that's on 11/2, well, this one was on December 11th. My fault. But this was signed December 11th. But the 1776 Commission, that was signed on 11/2, which was Nasara, but it was all outlined, and all they did was, like they did before, they changed the words. Words have different meanings, and it's all coded. When you look at it, it's like code. It's like decode it. Because right along with the Bible, right along with everything, right along with the drops, you decode them. They're not going to tell you right out. It's just like the ciphers they use. You know, they use the Caesarean cipher. Well, why is everything revolve around that? Well, I wonder who Julius Caesar was. Trump.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets deep, So I can't thank you enough for not interrupting me while I was going through all this, and just uh by letting me finish, because
Why
that's what
would I interrupt something that was so poetic? I mean, you just had like line after line after line in such a flow. So what would, I mean, what's to interject? That's amazing.
well,
Well,
I tried before, but some just have to sit there and make it bigger than what it really is. And I never said that this was that this makes me any bigger than anybody else. It's just we found it. We found
yes,
it collectively, and now we know that we could understand that what we found was a keystone.
that's really awesome. Really, really awesome. Well, I hope that I really do hope that all of this works out. I mean, obviously, we're all hoping and we're all praying and we're all waiting. And I mean, some people, there's been talk, I think someone even said it, and I didn't watch the news today, but people were talking about how there's been pressure already publicly to have a martial law and pushing Trump to do that. Um, there's just so much. But one thing we do know is if they're rolling out, they had that tweet that went out to you with Trump. Let me read what he said about the shots. I mentioned it earlier on the show this morning or this afternoon, whatever time it is. But he basically said all-time stock market high. The vaccine or the V and the V rollout are getting the best reviews. Moving along really well. Get those shots, everyone. Also, stimulus talks looking really good. And, if you guys missed the earlier episode with Magenta and Laura, we talk a lot more about all the different ways that these could actually be, because there's talk of, and I don't know if you've seen the videos, I've seen several where they're showing it where it looks like they're not even going in the arm, but it's like going behind, or there's no needle, or the cap's on, or it's underneath the shirt, or some people are saying they're placebos, and we know that some of them are definitely not, because they are the bio W's. And, and I looked at, looking at the stuff with Celeste and David on the first, what I was talking about at the beginning, they were looking, she was giving us keywords to look for when we're looking at all this, if we're looking at it. And she said to look for hydrogen gel, to look for quantum dot, to look for
hold on. I want to write this down real quick.
Yeah. Quantum dot. If anyone wants to take notes, quantum dot, opto.
What was the first one? I'm sorry.
Quantum dot.
No, you said hydrogen something before that?
Oh, hydrogen gel. Optofluic analysis, or optofluids. And she said the problem is they change the name, just like MSG, they change the name all the time. Sugars and artificial sugars, they change it like 55 times a month because, they don't want you to know that you're getting it. But, and I talked to you too. Yeah, the 5G is a big part of whatever, because if there's magnetic tracing involved in the tests and or the V's, and then they can turn it on with the 5G,
But they can't do it here because that's what the wall's for. The wall's an arc. And
True.
what they did is with the wall, that's why the wall means so much more. It actually has all that top. It has that top technology. What the wall is, it's an unrolled. It's a Tesla coil that's unrolled. They unrolled the Tesla coil. That's exactly what they did.
I really do hope so. I'm serious. I mean, you say all this, and I'm like really hopeful that you're right. And also, there's a part of me that's like, I don't know. But
skepticism is bad.
I know, right?
It's the Antichrist. It honestly is. I'm dead serious. It's right here.
It's written down somewhere on a piece of paper. Oh, okay. I thought you were just gonna hold up some handwritten note you were putting out there. You got oh, for real? Okay.
It actually is. And then this right here, this that's not it. This one right here. That right there.
Oh, that's what you were telling me about earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
check that
Right,
out, you guys.
right here,
Sure.
and I'll find out. I'll find where, because I mean, that's a lot of intel, and also because it actually does say that it is skepticism is the Antichrist. Because the Antichrist you would think is being a person. The problem is that everything is inside of us.
Yep.
We have all that built inside of us. Like right here, they talk Apocalypse, Revelation of Saint John mentions the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Those 7 heads are the 7 capital sins: anger, greed, lust, envy, pride, laziness, gluttony. With all their derivations, and the 10 horns, they represent the wheel of samsara, where it says the wheel of samsara. This means that the beast evolves and devolves incessantly. So you're constantly evolving and revolving, but one needs to know and comprehend that one can end up with the elements that constitute the ego, and nonetheless they can resuscitate in the beast, in the Antichrist, in the monster of the 7 heads. So that's why they tell us, ego, get rid of it. No room for ego or anything like that. That's it. And there's 2 sciences of all eternity. One is the pure science known only by the perfect ones. The other is the terribly skeptical and materialistic science of the beast, the Antichrist. So all this science that they're pumping on people, it's all the Antichrist. It's not like a physical, like a
Person in flesh.
yeah, person or like something you could see. It's actually inside of us.
It's the frequency. A
All
low
of our
vibration.
frequencies, and yep.
Yep. Well,
And it says that in your psyche, but there is another part that you do not like yet. It exists even if you do not like it. That is skepticism. It does not, and it does exist. It's the antithesis of what you want, and the worst thing that you two are the antithesis. That antithesis is the Antichrist, that of Ahriman. So just look Ahriman. Look into that, and you will find more than you will ever realize that you will find. Because that right there is, I believe, the Ahriman is the evil AI. That's the AI. Because AM, you remember when they put like AM, like when they were going to arrest Hillary Clinton, 7:45, 8:30 AM, and they had dots under AM? Right there. Ahriman. They just split up the words just like they did DEF CON.
wow.
DEF CON is 1 word or 2 words. When it's 2 words, it means black hats. It's the black hat. The little Vegas things that they do. Their conferences.
Yep.
But the hidden force of the Ahriman, if you think about it, AM, there you go. And it goes under that I have no mouth and I must scream deal. There was a video game, and it was on a radio program. But yeah, that's it's the last 5 remaining people on Earth, and they're all controlled by an evil AI.
Well, and I just saw on, I think it was Amazon Prime, that there was some movie that just came out called The C Word, COVID 23, not 19. And it's talking about how after a 4-year lockdown, blah, 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 blah. That's what the rest of the people that are still there and what they've just gone through after a 4-year lockdown. So, I mean, they got to tell us, and this is where they want to go. This is what they would like to do. Even Joe B in the debate actually said that live on the stage, talking about saying, mask till 2023, I think he said, or it was either 2022 or 2023. And no one had ever talked about that. Like, we were just talking about months at the time, and then he just breaks out mask till a federal thing. And it's like, okay, no, I don't think so. No, thank you.
You want to know why? There's a simple reason why. Because back in was it last year? Remember when they took that box out of that building in California. The military did, and they hose it down with that white liquid, or it was like a soapy substance or whatever to cut back the whatever was in it. That right there was the Yersinia pestis. That was Black Death. That's why they have Y in a kill box. That's what it is. It's
Wow.
Yersinia pestis.
Wow. So they saved us. They intercepted it and
Yes.
stopped it.
And that's why they say they've had the ball the whole time.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
they
Well, that
sure
goes back
have.
to a couple of other
Yep.
shows that we did about the ball.
And
Awesome.
it's all about just all the stuff in the drops and decoding and rereading the drops. I mean, it was so much nicer when they had the one Q map or Q whatever it was up where it was just much easier to navigate around. But since they changed that, it pretty much put a halt on that. But they did it so that you couldn't read the first tweets that Donald Trump put out. Because if you notice, you can go backwards and it tells you like who he's taken out one by one. If you go backwards from 9 to 1, it's a countdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now, guess what? Big Pharma. Or they talk about despite the hurricane hits. And it's actually, mildly amusing because what's the storm that is going on northeast? Winter Storm Flynn, Winter Storm WS, Warp Speed, Winter Storm. Yep.
No, I did not know that.
It's named Flynn.
Wow.
So now all these people are saying, "Oh, it's not going to be Flynn. That's stupid." It's like, oh, should have bet on the dark horse, guys.
Literally what they're saying, isn't it? Oh my God, if this works. Anyway, well, I got to close up here because I got another thing with Roger here.
You got it. But
you were freaking amazing tonight, and
we were
awesome. Yes,
thank you.
Love you guys all out there. That includes you in the all y'all hanging out.
All of you
tonight. Appreciate all of you. I know that this did not go on YouTube. I'm going to upload it after the video. After the interview with Roger. But if you guys feel like hanging out, I'm going to be interviewing Roger Richards, who did 1,000 pieces in about 15 minutes. And that is the movie that you can watch on Venmo that goes into all the stuff with JFK, all the corruption, and all the 3-letter organizations, and why Robert Steele's in it, John D'Souza. Sean Stone is the narrator, and if you don't know anything about Sean, oh my God, he is beating at his own drum with information. Has a book called NWO. And goes in. He's down every rabbit hole there is. And I actually have him on an interview tomorrow at 2 also. So you guys stay tuned. Hang on if you feel like hanging out with us. And then Jason and I will be back Thursday next week, God willing, or maybe even earlier if stuff comes up. We might have to do a quick, special or a quick little jump on as we're getting all this new information. We already discussed how we might have to do something earlier if everything, things come up. But any final word?
Well, what I'll do is all these paperwork and everything like that, I'll email you the links and everything so you can include it so that they can go to it, easily find it, and and have them, because
awesome.
Like I said, you want to print that 171 page document. That is the biggest document you'll ever have. If you have a problem with printing or anything like that, let me know. Contact me. We could work something out where I could just print it, send it, whatever, and however. But everybody needs to have this, because especially if children, anybody that says that your child has to have this, no, they don't. No.
Yes.
Not at all. And I'll even highlight in there. I highlight in the package that right here.
Know your rights. Know your rights. Know what you are allowed to do and know what's in it. Follow all the websites and the things in the links that he's talking about when we get them, and the ones that I mentioned earlier. And that's it for tonight, y'all. At least with us two. And I appreciate you so much, Jason.
Appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Get some sleep, man. I mean, you're a lot more awake tonight.
I did. I slept for 14 hours. I mean, how much more sleep do you want me to get? It just takes me a little bit. It takes me a little bit to get going. That's all.
14 hours in a solid week is not acceptable. You guys.
That's not a solid week. I mean, that was just last night.
Okay, good.
I just didn't have any coffee.
Oh, okay.
I mean, coffee's the nectar of the gods. Let's face it. You know. I mean, it's like, geez.
All right, guys. We love you guys. Have a good one. Stay free. Love each other. And someone's asking about all the documents. We're going to get all that. So just stay tuned. If you're not following either of us on Facebook, you can't friend either of us anymore, but you can follow. That way you can get the notifications for when we do pop up. We're also on Twitter. And
they can actually email me too. So I mean, if you want to put my email in it,
I'll put your email in the link as well. And also get on my newsletter, swiftfire.org, swiftfire.org, because God forbid anything goes on and this doesn't stay up or whatever. I've had a few things come down for whatever reason. So get on my newsletter. It's a free newsletter, and it does give out my schedule, and I send out videos. When we have stuff like this, I'll send it out. So, all right, guys.
Sweet.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Take care.
Have a good one. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.